And we're live. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're hearing us or watching us from. My name is Arome Ibrahim. I'm super glad to co-host this amazing webinar with some amazing ladies doing amazing stuff in tech, in business, in entrepreneurship. I'll allow Tryphena to introduce herself. So Tryphena is with Pioneraa Social Initiative. They're one of our partners for this webinar. And Tryphena,
Okay, hello
could we
everyone.
Hi.
Tryphena, introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening everyone. Good morning, good
Hi.
afternoon. Yes, my name is Tryphena Ojile. I'm a product designer and I'm also the founder of Pioneraa Social Initiative. And I'm so glad to be here with our wonderful speakers. And I hope you stay till the end and you'll definitely have a blast.
Amazing. We hope we'll have a very big blast, like you said. So, so this webinar is co-hosted by Immersive Tech Africa and Pioneraa Social Initiative. It's celebrating the International Girls in ICT Day, which is celebrated on the 25th of April, right? And the goal basically for this year is, the theme for this year is leadership, and basically underscores the critical need for strong female roles in science, technology, engineering, and maths, which is more or less STEM, right? So according to research, although 40% of women fall under the high skill occupation sector globally, a lot of them are still underrepresented in the space. And the goal basically is how can we have more ladies assume leadership position in tech, and also, if possible, build their careers around STEM careers. And we have two amazing ladies this evening. My very good friends, also a friend of Tryphena, if I must say. I'll allow them introduce themselves briefly, what they do, what they're passionate about, and what they think about the webinar topic. So, Esther, could you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Esta Richards. I'm based in Nigeria. I'm passionate about health, fitness, and wellness. I believe that every 21st century worker or every 21st century person or individual should have lifestyle fitness skills. Those are things that I believe everybody needs to equip themselves with. So I'm big on education, I'm big on awareness, I'm big on trainings around these things to educate teams, to educate individuals, and to also educate corporate organizations on how they can integrate lifestyle fitness skills into their system, and also how they can help their staffs integrate lifestyle fitness into their lives. Also, on the flip side, I'm also an active health practitioner. At the Center of Medicine, we bring and infuse arts. I have a community called the Dance Therapy Community in Nigeria, where we help women to stay healthy, to stay fit and sane using dance, right? And lastly, I'm also the co-host of Pitch Room Africa. I'm passionate about driving conversations like this. Arome was once a guest on our show, and it was so brilliant to have him and hear him speak about all the great work that he's doing. So that's a little bit about me. There's always more, but as a multi-potentialite, please manage those three. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So Esther is an amazing personality, and I know you guys will enjoy hearing her conversation and her journey into entrepreneurship and also tech. Moving on to Ojo, could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Hi. My name is Ojo Odo. I'm a data analyst currently at Expressfish. I would say data is very innovative and interesting because it cuts in every sphere of life. Like you can apply data in every single aspect of our society today, and it helps us like make very good decisions, and these decisions help us to improve our life. And it's very important to have like information gotten from data. You have to get like very sound information because this information helps you to make very good decisions so far. Aside that, I'm also the co-founder with Crispit Magazine in Nigeria, with Crispit Media. We are a platform that helps youths. We give youths a voice to be able to express themselves. We let them showcase all their talent and their work so far. So that's basically me.
Super nice to meet you. I can see you are doing a lot of stuff, which is Tryphena. We have not yet heard the amazing work you're doing. Tell us what you do, what basically drives you at the moment.
Okay, so I do a lot of things. I won't even know where to start, but I currently work as the digital media team lead at Helpline Foundation for the Needy and also Africa Women Conference. But personally, if you notice the organizations that I've listed are all like women-based organizations trying to ensure bridging the gap in like every sector that we can. And that's why Pioneera it's basically all about, because I'm in the tech space. So I work with these organizations that are pushing like bridging the gap in women empowerment and all of these things. But Pioneera is about bridging the gap via the tech space, because that's like the field that I can give back to. So that's basically what Pioneera. I'm also a freelance product designer, and yeah, I do anything design and basically a bit of tech IT stuff.
So Tryphena is your go-to person for anything product design. I won't say social media management because she doesn't like social media management, but she's very good at people management, very good at women and girl child empowerment, and she's also doing an amazing stuff with her initiative called Pioneraa Social Initiative. So the topic for this webinar is empowering girls in Africa. How can we bridge the gender gap in STEM leadership? So the topic for this year's International Girls in ICT Day is leadership. How can we have more girls assuming leadership position in STEM? We'll be going around the panelists with a couple of questions. Everybody's free to share their insights and experiences. I'll allow Tryphena to kickstart the round of questions, and then I would follow suit afterwards.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Ojo or OJ, I know her as OJ, so let me go with OJ. So I'll be starting with OJ. What do you
Okay.
think is the importance of like promoting tech in females in Africa? Like how exactly can you throw more light on the value and the like where you see the tech space and women being in the tech space going in Africa and the importance, of course?
Um, I would say tech is very, very important in Africa because there are so many things that need to be done. There's so many, like I would say, among all the, like in Africa, all the countries that are there, we are kind of laid back, or should I say withdrawn? Because if you look at other countries, they've gone far and they've moved far. If you look at, and then when you now look at how backward we are, we have so many challenges. The educational aspect is kind of low. There's very little advancements in Africa as a whole. I would say some countries have gone further than others, but it would be nice to see that other people move ahead in Africa. But I would say the major challenge that we have so far is just that a lot of people are not interested in these things. I wouldn't say that we can put it on the person per se, but I would say like the background, like the environment around them, it kind of shapes our mentality on how we see tech and how we move into tech. So I would look at it from a girl child perspective. Like when we're growing up, most times ladies shy away from mathematics and all the science courses. They like to go into linguistics and the rest of that. But if we have like a community or a society where we have teachers that are more confident in their fields and they're willing to like pass on this confidence to these younger ladies, they will feel more confident going into tech and all these STEM spaces. But the problem we have then, aside that, we also have very few areas that are willing to teach people this kind of things, show them the importance of this. Like we should have like mathematical museums where people young girls, young guys. I won't exclude the guys, but I'll say young girls go there and then they would see stuff there and they'll be very interested in these things and they want to move into that aspect of technology. But we have very little of those kind of things. And then there's no that support from parents. We need that support from parents in order to encourage the girl child to go into tech as a whole. And then there's that constant fear that, oh, it's so difficult and all of that. But with the confidence and support, I feel like everybody can go into tech. And then aside that, people feel like there's a particular age where I've gotten to this age and I can't like move into tech at that point in time. It's not valuable. Like it's not viable because we say that at any age you can go and do anything. So that support is also there. The importance of this tech in our society, I would give an example of these iPads. Recently, there was a trend on Twitter where, like in Nigeria, iPads were made, and then the pads had a flap. I would just say like another flap. And I would say in a normal setting, if it was guys that were making these pads for women, they would just leave only a particular section out of it. But because there were women in the room there, that diversity, it created more, it created like a diversity. I would say it created more room. There was more value presented. There were other things that they were considered. And then it was not just like a biased perspective. That's what I would say is an importance of tech.
Amazing. That's awesome. So a follow-up question for Esta. My question basically is, do you think as Africans is a barrier for girls to see tech as something they can venture into, or rather than just focus on non-STEM or non-tech subjects or maybe commercial-based careers? Do you think as Africans is a cultural barrier that we don't have girls going into tech?
Yeah, I would agree to some extent because our programming is basically what we're exposed to. So I'll give an example for me growing up and going to school. I hated mathematics. Why did I hate mathematics? It wasn't cultural. It was my teacher, right? Like Ojile rightly mentioned. The way I was being taught, just saw numbers. Of course, I didn't realize I was creative then when I was a teenager. So I just saw numbers, and the way that I learn, my learning ability, I'm a visual learner, right? And a kinesthetic learner. I like to use my hands. So when I'm hearing things like, and I'm seeing things like numbers, I switch off, right? So my teacher didn't do a great job. And then they now made me do further maths, which made it even more complicated, So I kind of like I don't know how I made it through mathematics. I passed with a D, right? But I did excellently well in other subjects. So I just hated mathematics. But when I started having kids and my kids were now bring homework to me, I realized that mathematics wasn't that crazy. I was helping her figure out some things now that I'm older. And I was wondering, so what was the difference? And even in school, in most schools, mathematics is a subject that is feared by children. So it's either it's a programming in the environment, right? The fear of the parents, the school environment not having enough staff to be able to teach these things in creative ways that children can understand. Instead of just saying, this is what it's supposed to be, copy and paste, finding creative ways to help kids embrace STEM and embrace math and embrace all these supposedly difficult subjects. I think that's the real issue. If someone is able to teach, I've seen people teach maths in a fun way, I can't get it. So what's wrong with that? And I think that's the missing link. The missing link is how these subjects are being taught. The missing link is how the way they are being projected, right? So parents are scared of maths. I tell my kids, I didn't do maths well. That's subconscious in my child is already like, my mommy doesn't know maths. So it's just something that just seeps into the behavioral setup of our kids. Yes, it's cultural, but I also believe that it's largely environmental as well. And of course, environmental can also deal with coming from the way we live, our culture, right? So yes, there's a very deep connection with all of that. And a girl that knows maths is seen as if she's exceptionally brilliant. My sister, she loved numbers. She's an accountant now, a chartered accountant, ICCA. She did that examination, and was the only girl in her maths class. Like in university, she studied maths, and she was the only girl. And people used to, she had a lot of stigma. They'll tell her she's a boy, they'll talk down on her because she was the only one doing maths. So it's a cultural thing, it's our environment, and it's a lot. But, one day at a time, I'm very sure things like this will just fade away in the nearest future.
That makes sense. Tryphena, you have a question for Ojo?
Oh yeah. No, thank you. I was just going to add to like what everyone has said. I mean, totally the gap between learning and the extra attention that our teachers put in. I mean, me personally, I was very good at maths, but I hated chemistry and physics, which is weird. But I mean, if more effort, because more efforts are put in from the early ages when we as women are allowed to express why and how we see the world or how we see certain things. And instead of being told, oh no, you're a girl, or no, don't do this, your brother should do that. These little things in one way or the other coming together to add and also long-term effects that we don't even realize are contributing factors to how we make certain decisions in our adulthood. But yeah, thank you so much for that contribution. I think Esther, I would like to ask you, maybe you can share from the aspect of like promoting health, fitness, and wellness for girls in like the STEM
I can't hear you more.
I think Tryphena froze there. But basically, she's talking about what are the importance of promoting health. Health is very important. Fitness and wellness, especially among girls who are growing up, right, and are looking to venture into spaces that require a lot of agility, physical endurance, and also mental ability, right? So how can fitness and wellness help girls to be very active in those STEM roles?
Yeah, first, I think it fosters a holistic approach to education and career development. It's important. And it ensures that young women have physical and mental resilience to excel in these fields, right? That awareness is so important. Right? And secondly, it can help combat these stereotypes and social barriers by demonstrating that girls can thrive in intellectual and physical pursuits. How does that happen? The awareness is important. You know that girls are easily stigmatized because of their bodies, right? So if a girl is well equipped to take care of her body, if the girl understands her body and knows how to manage her body, that's improving her physical health already. If a girl who is in STEM understands basic lifestyle fitness skills, this is all that she needs. These tools will help her to manage her career and her journey in STEM fields, right? And I think also lastly, prioritizing well-being empowers girls to navigate the unique challenges they may face in male-dominated industries, promoting diversity and inclusion in STEM. So that's what I would say about that.
Great. Thank you for sharing. I would say that I've worked with a lot of ladies in the tech space, and most of them are very, very brilliant and amazing, right? For me, if I'm working on a project and it's all guys that is on the team, I'll be like, no, we need to have somebody here to balance us a bit, right? Somebody to speak sense into us when we're going off board. But I feel having ladies in tech it's a blessing, right? It's not trying to really balance any gender stuff. It's a blessing and a must have. My question for Ojo is, you are into data, right? And I know it was not easy for you to move into the space, right? Even though you had an educational background in data and analytics and AI. My question is, what do you think schools can do to support girls that are interested in data or AI, right, but are shy to maybe say it or engage in it, right? What do you think can be done? So picture you in school, maybe in secondary school, primary school, you're interested in data. What do you think your school can do to empower you to get started with that technology?
Okay, I would say that the curriculum can be changed. I would say in Nigeria because that's where I schooled. As a young child, most people's should I say their attributes or the attributes are not really put out there. They don't prioritize that. Like Esther mentioned, she said when she was younger she likes visuals and all that. I feel like if we can capture all these people's abilities in different when they're younger, it's easier for them to be able to know how to make better decisions on their career. When I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I knew that I liked school. I would say that I knew that I liked going to school, I liked learning, I liked reading, but then I didn't know what I was going to do. And for me, I would say because I had support from my grandparents, it was easy for me to move into like the tech space where I studied statistics, I studied mathematics. It was every initially when I was in secondary school, I didn't really like mathematics because I didn't like the way the trainings were given. But then as I studied it further, I realized that it was really interesting. And then you can see mathematics in everything. So because I had the support from my family, I then understood that mathematics isn't everything. But then typically in schools, we do not know that mathematics is everything. Mathematics can be applied to every aspect of our life. So it's quite difficult to tell somebody that this is an implication or this is an application of something when you don't understand how it is applied. So I would say the whole curriculum can be changed. And if more people find this rather interesting and then their abilities are captured, they're put into factor, more people will be willing to go into the tech space or AI and data science.
Awesome. I think this feedback is for Tryphena, right? So Tryphena, with her initiative, are trying to empower girls in northern Nigeria, right? So girls that are going to school in northern Nigeria that want to get started with tech, right? Her
Yes.
initiative goal is to reach out to these schools to see how they can plug in tech into their curriculum and making sure that they are empowering these girls from the ground up, right, with that
Yeah.
knowledge and that insight to get started. If I'm correct, Tryphena.
Yeah. For me, if you ask me what I would do, I would go with the aspect of showing them how this is applied in our society today. I am more interested to see an application than even let me just cut. Even when you're coding, you want to understand what this code can do before you start writing the code. So most of these people will be more intrigued. The children will be more intrigued to see, oh, this is what this can do. Oh, I saw that this is how this is applied. It makes them more creative. It opens their mind to see that, oh, there's so much possibility out there. I should go out there and try all these things. And then with that, a gradual introduction is given to them. When I came to the UK initially, I learned that at 8 years old, a child in school is taught programming language. So Python is taught to these children at the age of 8 years. And then with time, like they grow and then they know like should I say the algorithms, like because programming languages are like an algorithm. They understand the algorithm from a younger age. And then when they get out there and then they understand the concepts, the way these algorithms are built, it's easier for them to apply this to their everyday life. When they apply this to their everyday life, I would be more interested. I would see like the working of AI. I would look at AI, I would look at ChatGPT and I'll be like, oh, this is interesting. How does this work? Because I've seen that and I've also been introduced at a very young age to all these applications. I am more inclined, I'm more interested in these things than somebody who just randomly gets introduced to it at an older age.
That makes sense. Tryphena, could you take it up from here?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love everything that OJ has said because she just made me go back to when I was in school and they were teaching me physics. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what I was using, like how to apply it. And from early on, I understood that, oh, okay, so if I understood what the end goal was, it was easier for me to like piece everything in together. But I was just taught, and it was all about cram
Ex-
and drop.
yes.
So it's so hard now for people to now wake up and say, oh, okay, so I want to do this. Whereas from the beginning phase, we all know this, the whole agile flow and how like the development process is done. I mean, it would
Yes.
shock you to know that I fully understood that after I'd left the university. I know we're taught in university, water flow and all of those things, but all I knew was it was a lot of data, a lot of information that were being given to us. It was cram, go to the exam hall and drop it. It was when I'd come out and into the world and then I was practically understanding how to use them was when I was like, oh wow. So this is all they literally been teaching us. So
Exactly.
it's really crazy how if we can actually just take extra attention, extra time to give practical examples of how these things, how these little equations, how to find X, what exactly is X, and all of these things, and how they all come together as one. I believe that it would make everything so much easier for like young people and young girls to just be interested in maths and science related careers. But yeah, Esther, I would say from, now we've just talked about how like the mental aspect of how the little things we learned or how extra time and effort has been put into our learning processes as young children. Would you throw more light on like maybe key strategies perhaps that can be can be used to like can be incorporated in schools to help younger children from like an early age understand what like the science spaces are about, STEM and mathematics, and just how to proceed with that in their career?
Okay, so I would say that the biggest issue, even about when it comes to health, is awareness, education, awareness, education. A lot of things that people do not know that if I combine this and this, I may not, I should look at the label of a drug before I take it, or I should wake up at a certain time and sleep at a certain time every day. A lot of people don't know all of these things, right? So there should be awareness. And I think implementing a comprehensive health education program that addresses key topics that concerns girls will be they can't take everything, but just highlight the things that are relevant to the girl child, right? Who is in the STEM field will be very important. Then providing access to resources such as counseling, mentorship programs, like creating a safe space. Oh my God, don't underestimate the power of a safe space when you have like-minded girls in a space talking about their problems and learning from each other. It's very powerful, right? I have a lot of safe spaces. Like one of the things I do, I create safe spaces and encourage healthy conversations, right? And then lastly will be around that work-life balance is a myth, right? There's never really, if you work for somebody, if you do a 9 to 5, how are you going to balance your life? Just tell me, how is there balance when 9 to 5 is not yours? In Nigeria, it's not even 9 to 5. It's probably 8 to 6. It's not yours. And by the time you commute back to your house, what you have left is between 8 to 12. And that is largely around when your body should be resting. So the work-life balance, they need to first understand what they are going into, right? And then these organizations, these people that hire them, that give them jobs, should create the workplace environment to be accommodating of these women. When I first got a job as a civil servant, so I don't talk about this a lot. Also, one part, I'm also a civil servant. I got the job when I was pregnant. And I got the job and went on leave. I got the job in June 2013. In July, I gave birth. And then I went on leave for, is it 3 or 6 months? Can you beat that? Now that's beautiful because it embraces me as a woman. It gives room. It doesn't make me feel like, oh, I can't give birth, or I've lost the job because I'm pregnant. It doesn't take away that. So I think that when these spaces that these girls work with or work for, which are very demanding, if they're able to implement or integrate all of these things into their work systems and workflow, it'll be very important. Taking into consideration, these girls will have their flows, they will have their hormones, they will have all of these things happening to them at different times of their life, capturing that into their life and into the work system. I'm yet to see that happen in Nigeria, but it's something that is very important. And I think if it's focused on, could go a long way in supporting more girls to come into STEM. Because if they see the way the other girls are being treated and respected and nurtured, I think every month I will ask my child to go into STEM too. Yes, that's what I would say.
Amazing. I love your thoughts on how organizations should factor not just girls, but also women in how they structure their policies and activities. One question I have for on the call is, do you think, just like we have women supporting women, can we have girls supporting girls too?
Yes, yes. There's so many opportunities and platforms where there are girls supporting girls, and people go there and they have job opportunities there. They have trainings. I think I met Tryphena through NHub Foundation. It was like an introduction to tech for women, and then that was when I was introduced to my first programming language. So there are so many training opportunities there, and then I feel like a lot of ladies should look out for that. If that support is there, then a lot of ladies would know about these organizations and then look out for that.
Cool. So Esther, what do you think?
Hi.
Hello,
I
Esther.
think I met her.
Hello.
I think she's having problem with her network.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I think, can Esther hear me? Or is the network also part of our session this evening?
I think this is one of the reasons why we should introduce more women into tech, so that they understand all these challenges and then they can help us fix it.
Cool. Tryphena, can you hear me? Hello. Okay.
I think Arome, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so sorry about that talk. But it's fine. Sorry, bye. Wait. Okay, Oj, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry. The network is really misbehaving, but I think from what I don't know if you could reiterate what you said, because I know I heard you saying something about support for people, young girls.
Yes.
Okay, so just reiterate.
Okay, I was mentioning how I met you at NHub Foundation, an introduction to tech, and how it was a platform where a lot of girls came in and then they were introduced to, there were different aspects. There was web development, there was data analysis, Python programming, and UI UX designs. And this was like focused to ladies in particular, to introduce more girls into tech. But the challenge basically was that even when this was made free, a lot of people still did not show up. So there's still that major hurdle that needs to be taken care of. So why are they not showing up? Because this is free, but why is the support not there? I would say these are challenges. These are things that we need to look into as a society to see, okay, how can these women be supported to the extent where they show up 100% for this thing? Or would we say it's lack of interest? I don't think I would enroll into something that I'm not interested in. or should I say is difficulty. I personally, how I learn and how other people learn may be different, but maybe we could give more room to younger girls or young people to express themselves freely, to know what challenges they are facing and how to tackle that as well. So that's it for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Because I mean, thinking back to even when we had the interview phase, a lot of people registered for the event to come for the interview, but the turnout really low compared to like the high rate of interviews and registrations that we had. And you know, it's a bit tricky to find like the right balance between offering people programs for free and then seeing the value in it. But I guess we just have to keep one day at a time, keep offering as much as we can, and have those people who turn up, we put in the best efforts that we can, and then see where that takes us. And also, I mean, it just falls back to like our environment. And you know, as in just winding not, it's very, very hard for
Exactly.
people to understand even the opportunities that are available to them before they fully understand that, oh, okay, so I think this is a pretty good thing for me to be interested in. Once they just, you know, it's really tricky. And I personally, I feel like my greatest support system has been my family, because when I started out I actually interned at NHub in 2017, and then I was done with school. I learned a new skill, and I was like, oh, I spoke to the boss then, the director of Bash, and I was like, I learned a new skill. How can I put this new skill into practice? And he said, oh, just come over. And then, I mean, from coming up to just figure out how to make use of this new skill that I'd learned, I ended up being like the community manager and stuff. But I feel when we know the opportunities and we understand that, oh, okay, especially because as a lady, the everybody wants you to come and learn. We're
Yes.
always very welcoming. So if we more women, more young girls understand that all you have to do is reach out, all you have to do is say, oh, I would like to intern here. And we're going to open both arms and welcome you. Once that understanding and that awareness is there, I believe we've gone halfway, because then nobody feels the stigma of, oh, I'm the only girl, or oh, how am I supposed to do this? I'm a woman, or all of those little biases that we don't even like begin to take into consideration. But I mean, it's one step at a time. Esther, would you like to share anything in regards to that? Okay, I know you did, but yeah, if you would have
I actually
anything
have
or experience to
Yeah, I
throw
actually
in.
have a question for Esther as regards that insight you shared. For Esther, what do you think mentorship, or how do you think mentorship will play in having more girls in STEM careers, right? So, for example, there's an amazing woman doing awesome stuff with maybe VR or data science or AI. How can they open up opportunities through mentorship to have more girls into that space?
Are you speaking in respect to health, fitness, and wellness, or are
No,
you speaking in
generally,
respect as a general?
yeah.
Um,
Like,
I think
what role
that
does mentorship play?
a mentorship we know in any circle, be it work, be it business, be it family, it's always good to have people who are living the life that we dream of, right? It helps to validate first and foremost. It makes these girls not feel alone. If they see that a woman did it, they feel they can. It inspires them. So it's important that mentorship is very big, plays a very big role. Then imagine that mentor who has been afar is now in their midst. Just imagine that. Let's take, for instance, you're into VR, right? There's someone you've admired for years, and the person is saying he has seen the great work you're doing in Africa and wants to work with you. Tell me how you feel. Just tell me how you feel. That's exactly how the well-being of these little girls who are struggling or who are doing great work in these spaces. That's how far mentorship will go. So having people who are living the life they want to live, who are scaling, who are succeeding, who are weathering the storm, And if these people are also practicing healthy strategies, it's a plus. These people actually, they work out, they check their bodies, they take meds if they have any kind of illness. They are conscious of how they carry themselves around. Their mental health is in check. If these mentors are living a good example as regards their health as well, as regards their health.
Okay.
I would also like to
Yeah.
add
Okay,
to
go ahead.
that.
Mhm.
So, when I came to the UK initially, there's this program, Coding Black Females, and they required people to mentor young girls that were taking up their boot camps. And I volunteered to be a mentor. Now, the effect of this is most of the girls felt like they wanted to drop out because it was really difficult. But the value, the support from a mentor, being able to express what your challenge is, or like some of them shared that they were stranded in a particular area and then they couldn't move forward beyond that. Like we have all faced that challenge before, and then that boost, that support from a mentor would actually make you to persevere in whatever you're doing. For example, you don't expect somebody who is not like exposed to a programming language to just pick it up today and be very excited about it, because once you just get to a particular hurdle, you're like, oh no, this is not for me, and then you drop it. But then if you have that mentor, everybody has gotten to that point where they want to drop it, but then you just pick it up and then you keep moving. So by the time you have that mentor, and then the mentor is like, oh, okay, yes, I got to this part, this is how I solved it, I went online, I got access to other materials, I met other people, they also face this challenge, and then I'll feel among, I'll feel like I want to continue this thing. I'll not feel like, oh, I should drop out, because that's the support that they need. So I feel like the role of mentorship will be able to help these ladies see that, okay, this challenge is not peculiar to me. Everybody has faced this before, and then there's a solution to it. And so I can persevere and continue in this field.
That's amazing. So question for you, Esther. I know you are the co-host of Pitchroom Africa, right? I was opportune to be part of the amazing platform. My question basically is, what do you think arts and creativity can do to enhance innovation among the girl child, especially in Africa, and how they can also get started with STEM?
I think that integrating artistic expression into STEM education will definitely encourage interdisciplinary thinking, problem solving. It will also, encourage out of the box creativity, right? Engaging in artistic pursuits is very important, I think, because it helps people to unwind, right? It can serve as a form of stress relief and expression. I hope I'm answering your question. It can serve as a form of stress relief and self-expression. It can contribute to the overall mental well-being of these girls, right? So I think that embracing that intersection of art and STEM it's going to be beautiful. And Arome, you guys should contact me. Let's talk about it. It already sounds beautiful as it sounds so beautiful just talking about it. Girls are very encouraged to explore their diverse interests and talents beyond what they're already used to. You understand? And this might also lead to innovative solutions. Who knows? And a more inclusive STEM community. So yes, I think it's a brilliant idea, and I'm available for anything that has to do with creativity. So yes, Arome, you just got me spark and lit up there. Thank you.
Yeah, true. We already have like an initiative set up with this from this conversation, right? So imagine we can reach out to school, right? The male child is free to join too, but we want to see how we can energize current curriculums that are based in the Nigerian educational system. So we can make maths, chemistry, physics very easy to understand, right, and not too complex. Just like Ojo said, as early as 13, kids in the UK are already learning Python, right? So if we can make it as engaging and energetic, I feel we could have not just the girl child, but also the male child being very vibrant in the STEM space. Tryphena, you have any thoughts to add?
Okay, yeah, I actually have a question for Ojo. So, I know being a data scientist and analyst, I mean, being in your field, like where you work, and you're the only data scientist, how exactly do you manage just the craziness of, first of all, being the only data scientist, being the only female data scientist, and being a female? And then, one of our focus is, I mean, we're looking at leadership. How exactly do you balance bringing out your opinions and not sounding to, oh, she's a woman, she's emotional, and all of those things that just come with being a woman and being in a position of leadership?
Firstly, I like to give credit to my boss. He's a very nice man. He's always willing to listen. Like, I'll give him so much credit. I would say for me, because initially when I was going through the process of learning, I learned by studying and also by being independent. There's that aspect of coding that makes you very independent where you understand the whole coding process. For me, I would say working alone, being able to research this information, being able to understand what you're looking for in particular so that you can research the information is very helpful. I would not say that experience is important because there are so many people that want to go into tech, and then if you say experience, I don't have it. I would say they don't have experience, so they'll feel discouraged. It's not experience. It's just by understanding the basic concepts and applying them all together and then trying things out. You have to like be curious enough to try out, okay, how if I do this, if I do A and B, it gives me C. So if A and B gives me C, and then C and D gives me A, how do I go from there? You have to like be willing to try all those things. And then this is like from the early ages, like if you're as a child, if you encourage a child to understand that, oh, I can work independently, I can actually achieve this thing by myself, that confidence is there. You'll be willing to like try these new things and then explore these areas, and you obviously have a solution to your problems. So that's how I have been able
Okay,
to like
thank
handle
you.
situations at work.
Okay, I would
Can I
like to throw the
can
question
I
also to
can I add
Esther.
something?
Um, just
Yeah,
let me,
please.
okay, sure.
So you have an amazing boss, by the way. I saw his comment on our post on LinkedIn, right? I don't know whether you saw it too, but he's very, very supportive.
I I had
Yes,
to repost it. I didn't.
he is very,
I
very
thought
supportive.
he also followed me on LinkedIn. I should reach out to him. We need more of those people in STEM spaces.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Tryphena, go
Hi, I
ahead.
can't hear you.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Esther, I know like you're into like lifestyle and wellness, but then I also know that you're the co-host for Pitch Room Africa. Would you say you've had to struggle with like being a woman in such a field, and let's say in positions of like leadership, and lending your voice to just how decisions are made and everything that has to come into how you pick your next speakers, your entrepreneurs that you want to know more about? How has the process of being a woman contributed to that experience?
I think me and my partner make the best team. I don't know. The guy is he's like my brother, he's like my friend. We're like a family. So, I mean, my voice is loud, my voice is wanted, my voice is deeply honored at all times. So I feel very safe. Each time I try to say it is you, he reminds me it is we. And whatever, I mean, there's no limit. In fact, most of the times we are thinking the same thing, right? So in that space, as a co-host of Picture Africa, I have experienced more value than I anticipated as a woman. More value. I mean, even doubly because I'm a woman, I'm doubly respected. When we were the last year, I think it's going to be a recurrent thing now. We were like the co-host. We were like the official podcast. Sorry, for Akwa Ibom Tech Week. So we had pitch room specials in these spaces. Guys, I felt like a superstar, right? Because I was talking to very high-end people, and their reception was so beautiful. In fact, because I was a woman, I got a lot of perks, right? I got a lot of attention, and they were so proud of me. It was beautiful, right? So my role here is something that I never for 1 minute felt undermined or small. It's been beautiful. Even as a founder, I've received support. So as a one-time founder of a tech company, I've received a lot of support. So I think for me, it's been beautiful. The environment has really been very supportive for me. Maybe it's also because of my person. I do not notice all of these things as challenges. I see it as part of life. So wherever these things happen, my mindset is not, oh, I don't even see if you don't look at me, I'm not even looking at you, I'm focused. Do you understand? So those things don't even affect me as a person. Right. So I'm just focused on why I'm here, and it drives me. So maybe that too also contributes to why I probably excel in spaces like that as well.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you so much. I believe that one of the important things here is, as much as we're talking about women and trying to bridge the gender gap, it's also good to take time to appreciate the men who are, like you said, beautiful partners, the best bosses that in some way giving us the room and space to be who we are. And I mean, credit also to Arome, because Arome, like he said earlier, he's always trying to ensure that in everything that he's doing, there's one lady, there's always a female voice contributing to the whole experience of whatever it is that he's putting his hand into. So yes, I believe we should give credit to all men who are steady pushing every woman, every young lady forward and ensuring that she's the best version that she can be. So yes, let's give a round of applause for them.
On behalf of the World Men
I remember, would you like to
Association,
say something?
can you hear me? on behalf of the World Men Association,
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. So thank you so much, guys, for sharing your thoughts, insights, and also feedback.
Okay.
So
We have a question actually.
Yeah, we'll be moving to the questions section. So
Okay.
Ina has a question, and her question goes, please, my question is addressed to any of the panelists. As a woman from a full art background who wants to switch into tech, what aspect of tech is more feasible to start with? So who wants to go first?
So there are different aspects of tech. There are the no-code aspects, and then there are the coding aspects. You can look into one of the no-code aspects, and as you go into the field, as you grow into the field, then you can switch if you want. That is left to you. There are aspects like project management, there's UI UX, there's so many. And then for somebody who's an art, UI UX could be like a very nice field to thrive in, because you already have the whole creative aspect, and then applying that to like your designs will not be really difficult.
Great. Esther, you have any thoughts to that question?
Definitely. I would say I would like to take a different approach to this question. I would say, why do you want to go into tech? Why do you want to transition into tech? Why? It's always important to address the need, why you're doing what you're doing, because if you don't address that initially, you have to address that in the future. So if you are clear on the reason why you're going into tech, it already kind of throws light on what you should do in tech. So let me say, for instance, I have a big heart for product management. I also am big on project management. As a person, I love it. I'm a creative, but I've seen the connection and I'm very interested. So if I'm going into tech, where do you think I'm going to go? Am I going to go to UI UX? No, because fundamentally there's a connect, right? There's a desire, there's a connection with product management. So definitely that's where I'm going to go. But if you're going into tech and you have zero experience, you have nothing, you're just going in blind, sit with yourself and try to get your why. And your why will connect you to your what. And your what will show you how. That's how I want to answer this question. because a lot of times we jump into these things without sitting through, and that's a big mistake. Even with marriage, sorry to throw that in, 10, 15 years ago, most of us didn't even know why we're getting married. Just married, oh, my friend to marry. Oh, that's the love-hate relationship people are dealing with now in tech. They're going into it because they want to make money. People are getting married because they just want to have someone to call their own. But you see that when you marry this person, it's not really yours alone, right? It's a lot. So sit with yourself, I think, and connect the why to what, and then it all will show you how. I mean, you see how these dots will connect, maybe not so seamlessly. So from the how now, you'll be able to get clarity, take words from what Ojo is saying to implement them. But I think let's not miss the foundation. Connect the dots. Thank you.
True. Well said. Tryphena, you want to add? Okay. So I totally agree with what you said, Esther. But I think my own perspective would be just like you said. What is your why? So why do you want to go into tech, right? And I also noticed she has a background in art. She's creative. She's expressive. Maybe she's very active with her hands. And I think, like you said, also if it's possible to go into a part of tech that is very creative, like UI UX design, product design, it will be easy for you to get started quickly, right? If you don't get your hands dirty with code, you could focus on the no code aspect of tech, like Ojo said. But what's important is why do you want to go into tech? What is the goal, the end goal for you, and what impact you also want to make with you going into that space. So the second question is it still
Okay,
possible
sorry,
for
I
a
would like
girl?
to.
Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that. So it's sometimes it's you say, oh, okay, what do you like, and then it would help you find. I think another method that I've seen that tends to work is, I mean, we have YouTube. If you take out time to watch like basic explanation of certain topics or certain career paths, now when you now have all of this information come together, then I feel it's easier to now know, oh, what side are you tilting to? Because like you can say, oh, okay, but I don't really understand what fields are available. So when you take out time to understand, okay, this is what this does, this is what this is about, this is what this is about. Because we in the tech space, we can say UI UX and we know what it means. We can say data analytics and we know what it means. But someone who doesn't have an idea will need to actually take time out to fully grasp the meaning or what it means to actually go into this specific career path. Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, so let me just read the second question. It's from Praise Sams. And it says, is it possible for a girl who's not understood the basics of tech in her secondary school days to still venture into the world of tech? Who would like to take that?
Absolutely. Definitely. Ojo, please go ahead. Absolutely. That's all I would say. Ojo, go ahead.
Yes, it's possible, and it is very, very possible. There was a story on Twitter that was trending recently of a lady who ventured into tech at the age of 29. So that is way above secondary, that is way above BSc, and for some people that is way above MSc. And she wasn't exposed to tech. She ventured into it. Then she learned for a period of 2 years, and then after the 2 years at 31 she got a job, and at 33 she relocated out of Nigeria. So that is a very good example, and that could answer your question. I hope that answers your question. So yeah, it is very possible for somebody who's out of secondary school to venture into the world of tech. All you need to do is to expose yourself to the right information. You can do that by checking on platforms, just as Tryphena mentioned. You check on YouTube, you see what you're interested in, you see what aspect you're actually thrive in, what you find very interesting. And something that you need to know is, if you're going to tech, don't just go in because of the money, because you suffer. You suffer very well. So just know that the suffering is very important, because the suffering is not, if it's not, I would say it's directly proportional to the money, because the suffering is plenty. So you should know where you are facing. So you should go into something that you actually enjoy. Don't just go into it because, oh, everybody's going into it. So go into something that you enjoy. And then there's this perception where, okay, because I see everybody is in software engineering, I want to go into software engineering. People are making money there. No, I feel like everybody can thrive, and it depends on how creative you are, how your mind works. I can go into data analytics and I could be making much more money than any software engineer. Why? Because of how creative my mind works. What solution am I bringing? What solution am I preferring for people? So it how creative your mind works. So the fact that it's something that you enjoy, it is easier for you to come up with solutions that way. So if you go into something that you enjoy, it's easier to get like a job there, provide solutions in that field. So I'll say yes.
Before we hand over, there's someone I met on the Akwa Ibom Tech Week tour when we were visiting hubs. She's 54 and she just transited into tech. She's learning product management. In fact, by now she should be a product manager because I actually met her when she had already taken some classes. So how can someone, and I asked her, what's your fascination? Why? She was like, she just felt like she was a fish out of water. Her kids around her, talk about it a lot. She can't even operate her phone. She had to challenge herself to go out into product management. And she's doing fantastic. In fact, this year, I can't wait to meet her to see how I'll record her progress of her before and after. So if a 54-year-old woman can do it, of course a teenager can, right? So I hope that question has been answered to the end, right? To the later. Thank you.
Tryphena, you want to
Yes,
go?
that's yeah. I just want to say one thing. I studied computer science in university, and the only reason I studied computer science was because it looks like the easiest course, not because I had a clue what I was getting myself into. I still remember my interview where they asked me why do I want to study, and I was very confused because I had no clue. I just got into it because at that point I was looking for the easiest jam combination, and I did not have to write chemistry. I did not have to write biology. I mean, I had to manage through physics, but that was the best option for me. And then also, I think it helps that I liked maths, but there's no there's no rule that says, oh, you have to know this before you can actually be in the tech space or before you can do anything in the tech space. There's no rule that says that you can wake up today. I mean, we have the perfect example of a 54-year-old woman. So yeah, if a 50-year-old woman, 54-year-old woman can do it, who are you? What's your excuse?
I'm inspired already. I hope Praise is also inspired. Right? Just start. It's not that difficult. Just start. Right? You can go on YouTube, check out what's happening, and if you want to reach out to any of the panelists here, feel free to do that. They are available on social media, and they'll be willing to support your journey. Right? As long as you are willing to learn, and you have that desire to make an impact. Right? Trust me, they'll be open to supporting you to get started with tech. So we're almost peak with time. Before round up, I want to just say a very big thank you to each and every one of you watching this webinar. Even though we had a couple of network difficulties, we still made it work, right? But my questions for everybody on this call, inclusive of me, right, starting with Tryphena, is what's one word or one sentence you would love to say to any girl child out there watching this webinar that can get them started, right? What would you say if you were watching this webinar and you want to inspire that girl child to just start?
I would say find out one person in your environment that you think is in or is in the tech space. Find that one person and hold that person by the arm till that person introduces you to something or finds a way for you to find that path. Just grab onto that person and don't let go.
Okay, that's cool. Ojo, what do you think? What was one word or sentence you would love to say to any girl child out there that wants to just get started with STEM or tech?
I would say time waits for nobody. If you want to go into tech today, you should try it out today because in the next 3 years, you would still get to the next 3 years. But if you start today, in the next 3 years, you should have achieved something. But if you don't try, you are not going to achieve anything, and we'll still get to 3 years, and then there's nothing done. So you should try. Try it today.
Nice. Esther, what would you say?
I would say be you at all times. And there's an acronym for you: be yourself, right? Be original and be unapologetic. In the STEM space where you find yourself, just make sure that you are always you. That will be my parting words. Thank you.
Amazing. So for any girl child out there or any male child out there, I would say just like Esther said, be yourself, right? Trust the process. Don't get mixed up with the whole rush in acquiring money or acquiring stuff, right? You have your journey, you have your path. Everybody has their own timeline, right? So trust the process. Put in the work, right? Like Ojo said, the money is not going to come easy. You need to put in the work, right? You could have an amazing boss like at Ojo's company that is on LinkedIn and saying Ojo is amazing and all this kind of stuff because she's putting in the work, right? And they are seeing the benefit of that, right? So even though you're a girl, right, don't count that as a minus for you, right? You have that energy, you have that desire to go into tech, just start. And the world will acknowledge how amazing you are at the end. Awesome. So thank you all for joining this amazing webinar. We're celebrating the International Day of Girls in ICT. And the theme for this year is leadership. How can we get more girls into STEM, STEM careers, and if possible into tech? And I know in the next 5-10 years, we would have amazing ladies, amazing girls doing awesome stuff. If possible, we could have like a female president in Nigeria, right? I know it's possible, it's doable.
That's a dream. That's a dream. And I feel like we should get there soon.
Yeah, we should. We will.
No comments.
So
We should.
thank you all for joining this call. We really
Thank you so
enjoyed it.
much.
I
Thank you so
really
much.
enjoyed it.
All right. It was nice
Thank you.
meeting you. Have a
Yeah.
lovely evening.
Have a lovely evening,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.